Okay, so my two truths and a lie are that I have assisted with a childbirth in the back of an ambulance. I've played basketball with Adam Sandler. And when I was in college, I was a surf instructor. So those are my...
Those are all believable.
Yeah. That's why they're so good.
I'm going to say the lie is the assisted with the childbirth in the back of an ambulance.
Okay. What do you think?
From conversations we have, I know you've met celebrities, but I just don't know if Adam Sandler was one of them. You're tall enough to play basketball, but he's also from California, so he could be a total surfer dude.
And I went to UCLA.
I know.
It was right by the beach.
I know. Man. I think it's a basketball with Adam Sandler.
Oh, you're both wrong.
What?
The
Really?
surf instructor is the one that's a lie.
Aw, dang.
Really?
Yeah. So Adam Sandler lives in Bel Air.
Of course.
And so he uses the UCLA basketball facility.
Yeah.
So we were at the gym and he was there playing, and my roommates were there. They were like, "Come play with us, come play with us." And I was like, I don't play basketball, which is another reason why that one's like an easy one to lie about.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were like, "It's Adam Sandler." And I was like, "Okay, I'm right there.
I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Was he cool?
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in there playing hoops with college kids,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I heard he has skills. Does he have skills?
He's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, he made me look stupid, but I can't play. So it was pretty
That's amazing.
it was pretty embarrassing for myself.
I could have swore it was going to be the ambulance, because they got policies on that stuff. Get out of here.
No, I was an
Got
EMT.
it.
So when I was 18, I went to EMT school, and my first ride-along first patient as like an 18-year-old kid was a 16-year-old girl in childbirth, giving
man.
birth to a child. She had Braxton Hicks contractions the night before, so she didn't go to the hospital.
Right.
And they got the call, and I didn't know what the number was. They have codes for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "I hope you brought your catcher's mitt." I was like, oh my gosh, please no.
First day on the job?
Yeah.
So
I was a student still. I was
wow.
totally unprepared for that.
Okay, so there's even more I don't know about
Right.
Jordan, right? So you're an EMT, restaurant manager.
I've done a lot of many different things.
So when you boarded to come over here, it was a pretty impressive board. And I was thinking about this. At one point, I moonlighted in the brewery industry, and I would show up at 1:00 in the morning, and I would brew beer until 5, and then I would start my AGR job.
God.
Right. And because I wanted to learn how to brew on a restaurant level. Right.
1 a.m. seems like a good time to do that.
Well, yeah, it was just an hour earlier than I normally get up, so
Right.
it wasn't that big of a deal, right?
I don't even.
Right.
So, but the restaurant manager, that's the guy that's in trouble for everything. Like when the beer's messed up, even though he's got nothing to do with it, it's his fault. When the food is terrible, he's got nothing to do with it, it's his fault.
Oh, man.
And these guys are doing 14, 16, 18-hour days, 6 days a week. So when he was like, yeah, I've managed restaurants before and I was fairly good at it, I was like, oh, this guy's going to easily handle recruiting stress, right?
Yeah.
So-
I got yelled at by Vicky from Real Housewives one time because
Yeah.
it was in Orange County, right?
Yeah.
Because it was too cold in the room she was in. She was giving a seminar of some kind, and it was 68 degrees in there, but the HVAC was broken.
Yeah.
And it was my fault, so that was fun.
Dude, you just been around.
I've done quite a few things.
Good morning. It's season 3 of GI and a Cup of Joe. Thank you all for making seasons 1 and 2 a huge success. Again, I'm your co-host, Annie T.
And I am Justin C. It's pretty badass to hear all these stories of how everyday regular people with everyday regular struggles took a chance to better themselves with the opportunities in the Idaho Army National Guard.
And they didn't just do it for themselves. They did it for their families, future, past, and present. Officially, I'm Sergeant First Class Annie Torres.
And I am Command Sergeant Major Justin Cole. We encourage everyone listening to dress right dress.
Which is like, share, and subscribe.
Enjoy season 3. This is good. This is good. All right. So today we're talking to officially Sergeant Jordan Mays, but honestly, he's just Jordan. So let's go back to high school before EMT, before restaurant managing, and all the other things. Where did you attend high school, and what kind of student were you?
So in high school, I discovered the opposite sex, and I loved friends, and I had lots of friends. I went to John North High School in Riverside, California, so it's like the Inland Empire.
Okay.
I played soccer for the first 2 years. Oh, another thing you didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was decent. I was like a B student.
Yeah.
I started off by doing some like IB. I don't know if you guys even know what that is. International Baccalaureate. It's like advanced stuff. And I decided that being social was more important. And my parents were okay with it. So I did regular stuff in high school. I was a regular high school student. I got into shenanigans. We had my first car was a 1985 Mercedes 190 diesel.
God.
And it was like the best off-road car ever. And I know my mom's going to listen to this and she's going to be upset that because I used to get in trouble for that a lot. She would, yeah. I got in trouble for taking that car off-road, and and then I decided that I actually took the ASVAB, which is, Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought the V was Velociraptor for a really long time. And did really well and was going to join in 2003, but it was 2003. And, that was like the height of the Iraq War. And I was advised not to. I was told to give college a shot for a year. And if I liked it, I liked it. And then, you just kind of get stuck. So after high school, I went to Riverside Community College. That's where I got my EMT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Do you want me to keep going with that?
Well, what were your favorite subjects in high school?
In high school, probably, it was history, right? So I ended up eventually getting a degree in history.
Okay.
But yeah, all history. I love it. I'm a big nerd.
Roman history.
Yes.
Okay. See,
He thinks about the Roman
works.
Empire too.
It works.
Yeah, it totally does. Actually, my emphasis was classical Near Eastern studies. So Greece and Rome and Persia.
Have you ever been over there?
Yeah, I've been to Italy twice.
Nice. He's like a man of mystery.
Yeah, he is. Like, you're just peeling back the layers, man. This
Yeah.
is good.
But I would have had you pegged for a basketball player, not a soccer player.
Yeah, I
Just
played
'cause you're
soccer.
ridiculously tall.
I played soccer my whole life. So I think I started when I was 6 or 7, and then all the way through high school, and then a little bit in college.
Wow.
That's a big soccer area down there.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
We have family down there. And, all...
I guess I do too. My cousin was a big soccer player, and he's from Orange County.
Yeah, my
So,
nieces
yeah.
all played, too. from that area.
I mean, there's a really large Hispanic population down there, and that's their sport, so I think that's probably a big part of it.
So, thinking back to your senior year, what kind of path did you set for yourself when you were 17, 18 years old?
I had no direction. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I think you're seeing a little bit where I kind of am all over the place, right? So I have a lot of different interests and a lot of different things I like to do. Like I said, I was thinking about joining the military. And then I ended up going to community college instead. I did not know. So ironically, I went to get the EMT, right? And I was really interested in that stuff. And then I wanted to be pre-med.
Wow.
Right. So I did a bunch of the prereqs for that in community college. And then I had a history teacher in college, totally change my path for me. One person can make a huge difference.
Pre-med. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I know.
Who
Yeah.
advised you to just wait on the military? Was that your mom?
It was my family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have 2 older sisters and a younger brother, and my mom and dad. And it was just one of those things where, please just do a semester of college and see where it takes you. And I did that.
And took you into history.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
In a weird way. Yes.
So what did you do with your history degree?
I taught. So the professor that changed my life was Professor Katz. I still remember her. And so I transferred from Riverside Community College to UCLA, and I did 2 years at UCLA where I did a whole bunch of different things. And then I went to UC Irvine and got a master's in education. And so I taught history for a couple of years.
Like at a high school level or?
No, middle school.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
wow.
I know
Patience.
there were,
Middle school teacher as well.
yeah,
Okay.
He's
that's-
perfect for this job.
Oh, man.
yeah. I know you talked to the front desk, not the principal.
How
Yeah.
long did you teach for then?
Just 3 years.
Okay.
So that was the last time we were in recession. I'm showing my age here now, right? But that was like 2000. I got my degree in 2009, and everyone was on strike, and so I couldn't get a full-time job. So I had one job where I was there the whole year, and then you get what's called a pink slip, right? They basically say your job's not secure the next year, and if they need you, they'll call you. And So while I was doing that, I was on temporary pay, like basically the same as a substitute teacher, which is really bad.
Yeah.
So that's how I started working at the restaurant,
Okay.
because my roommate was a manager at a different location, but for that brand. And so I became a food runner. So I was a food runner with a master's degree for a couple of years, and while simultaneously doing that, and then I became a manager. They were like the regional director for the company at the time was like, "Hey, there's positions available. It pays way better, and that money. You always got to
Yeah.
follow the money." So,
Yep.
so I ended up doing that, and I moved up in that really fast. So
How long did you do restaurant management?
I started in 2011, and we moved up here in 2020.
Okay, so for a while.
Yeah, so for almost 10 years.
Jeez, a decade. Mm-hmm. God.
Did you meet
Yeah.
any cool people in the restaurant business?
In the restaurant business, yeah. I mean, so once you become, for that company, once you become a general manager, every year there's a conference in Vegas, right? And I mean, we saw George Bush speak, Jr. We got to meet Pitbull. He did a private concert for just the general managers, like 300 of us, which was really cool. I met astronauts. I met billionaires.
Wow.
It was neat because every time there was a big speaker every year. And so every time we got to go meet them. So I've got like a collection of those, right? Because I was the general manager for, 8 years, 7 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7, 8 years. So that was really cool. Yeah, I did it. I got to do a lot of really neat things through that. And then, it was in South Orange County, right? So like Kobe Bryant lives down there, or he did. And, there's a bunch of celebrities there too. So,
What an exciting life.
and that also afforded me the opportunity to travel, right?
Of course.
And so, because the money was so good.
Right.
And so, that's when we went. I've been all over Europe. I've been to Iceland, Mexico a few times. Yeah. Never Asia though. I think that's next on the list.
And then all of a sudden, in 2020,
You're here in Idaho.
here you're in Idaho. So, take us from Big Pimpin' to Idaho.
So big pimpin' in California, making 6 figures in California is like nothing, right? So we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I think the rent was like $2,700, $2,800 a month. Yeah, and it was a middle floor. It was, don't get me wrong, we were 10 minutes away from the beach. It was a really nice area.
Sure.
I love it there. I really do.
Right.
But it's just not achievable, right? I was working almost 80 hours a week, and there was no money left over at the end. So when we had our second son, we decided that we needed a change. So on my birthday, which is in January, we came up here and visited for 5 days. We stayed in Airbnb on the bench.
Just randomly picked Idaho?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we had been thinking about moving, and Idaho was up and coming, right? And still is.
You heard all the things.
I heard all the
You heard all
things,
the
right? Those darn Californians, ruining everything. But I'm in the National Guard, the Idaho National Guard now, so I'm like, okay, I think I earned it. A little
no.
bit.
You get
yeah.
a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets you like native
Yeah.
status.
Right.
away.
Okay. So I'm good. Thank you. Please don't hurt me. And so we were here for 5 days, and that was at the beginning of January. And I moved here without them for a couple weeks on February 3rd,
Just like that.
Wow.
just like that.
30 days later, I'm out.
We went for it. When you make a big change like that, you have to decide, because you're going to second guess yourself. It's human nature.
Right.
And so we immediately came home and started packing, and it was, the best decision I ever made.
So what did you do for work when you moved here? Because you didn't transfer, right?
No, so there's no locations up here from the company I was working for before, and that's not what I wanted to do anyway, right?
Okay.
So there's a company called Anthony's Seafood.
Yeah.
They just opened a restaurant on Front and 9th,
Yeah.
right? And I got a job as a regular manager, which was fine with them. I worked for them for 2 weeks. They were still building the restaurant, and then COVID hit, right? So that was
man.
February 2020.
Yeah.
I got furloughed, obviously, right? I was brand new with them and not
Right.
trained and whatever. And then we really struggled for a few months because everybody was struggling and there was no money. And
Right.
so my wife and I both did overnight shifts at Amazon, the Amazon warehouse over here,
Yeah.
which was like one of the only things you could do at that point.
Was that the one in Nampa?
No, that one wasn't open yet.
Okay.
It was the one out here, and we live far. So
Okay.
that was interesting. warehouse work. So here I am, right? Think about, I was the top of the top. I was a training general manager, so I was doing really well. And then I had already was like, okay, I'm going to take a step down, and now I'm working in a warehouse.
Right.
So I was pretty down for like a little while, right?
Yeah.
And for months we were behind on bills and all these things, right? Because unemployment hadn't hit or anything yet. And we were going to get California unemployment, which is
Oh yeah.
great. It
Better
was
than
it was
Idaho.
$1,200 a week
Wow.
during COVID. And in, I think it was June, we finally got unemployment caught up, and we finally got our debit card with unemployment on it. And it was supposed to have $2,100 on it. And that was going to be just enough for us, right? To catch up on everything and get back on our feet. And we were just going to keep working at Amazon and whatever. And it had like $12,000 on it because
Wow.
it was back pay.
Wow.
Oh,
So they paid it
nice.
from when I applied. And that was like life-changing for us, right?
Right.
And the interesting thing about that is that's probably what allowed me to join the Guard, because, having the opportunity to be able to do those kinds of things and having financial security lets me take another big leap.
Right.
So a few months later, I enlisted on October 10th, 2020. So in 10 months, we went from top of the top living in California to here to COVID to everything to enlisted. And then I shipped at 36 years old. I went to basic combat training on February 8th, 2021.
Man.
Wow.
What was it like being twice as old as the majority of the people in the barracks?
I think it was an advantage. I really do, because I think anybody that knows, that has been to BCT or, basic training, understands that it's mental, right? It's not physically. I was totally out of shape. I was not ready for those kinds of things, or I thought I wasn't. And they push you as hard as you need to be pushed. And the mental aspect of it, I think, is the hardest part. And I was totally prepared for that. That was a huge advantage of age and experience for me, because every time you get yelled at or you get, what we call smoked, right, where they make you do push-ups or whatever, I always looked for the reason behind it instead of being like, oh, I'm just being punished or I did something wrong or whatever. There's always a reason for everything that drill sergeants do. There's a lesson in everything.
Right.
And I kind of played that mental game with myself every time. So anytime you're in front leaning rest, which is just the push-up position held out, I'd be like, okay, why? What did we do? What lesson are we learning here? And that was really, I think, really, really helpful for me.
So you had a better mental capacity for BCT.
Absolutely. And anybody, so since I've been in the Guard, there's been a few people that have enlisted and have asked, hey, can you talk to my nephew or whoever about your experience? And I have always told them that. And so I really hope that especially these younger people that are going in, they really take those kinds of things to heart, because I think that's the hardest part by far and away. And it's not the physical side. I think a lot of people are worried about the physical stuff that you're going to go through there. And it really, really was not. It was the mental.
Did you ever see yourself as like a mentor figure in boot camp?
Oh,
to
yeah.
Your kids? They look up to
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah. Of course they did. I mean, I've got a whole lifetime of experience before I even, literally twice their age, like you said, before I even got there. And so, they asked, I had to teach kids how to write address letters and
Oh, man.
things like that. There was one guy
Wow.
that didn't know how to lace his boots.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So a lot of things like that, I was able to provide some guidance on little things that are life skills that I have because I'm older.
Yeah.
But, they've never written a letter before.
That makes sense.
Man.
Things you don't think about.
Well, kind of walking through this, you've done so much, right? But let's just take a look. What's your greatest accomplishment
I honestly,
to date?
so I know that I'm not, it's expected, right? I'm going to say something from the National Guard because this is the National Guard podcast, but finishing the forge, right, which is the last big step at basic combat training. There's a part where they keep you awake for a couple days, and you do a big long ruck march with I think it's a 65-pound pack on. And like I said, that was physically, I wasn't in the best shape when I got there. And so there's a point where you complete at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. There's a part where you complete that, and you get to put your ruck down, your backpack, and there's a big like lane that goes up that's lined with torches, like tiki torches, and that lane is like the path to the end of basic combat training. And so walking up that lane, I will never forget it, having accomplished it, and then they put the patch on your arm, that you're done. I know that at the beginning, for me now, it seems like a small thing, right? A small accomplishment, but
It's a huge accomplishment.
the feeling that I had there at 36 years old, I was top 10 in everything physical by the end of that. And that's probably the biggest accomplishment recently. I mean, obviously I'm married and have kids and things like that. So those things are very important and big accomplishments as well. We actually say every year, hey, my son, we kept him alive for another year. That's an accomplishment too, right?
Right.
Yes, it is.
But standing there with everybody else that finished, it's, they do such a good job. It's like dark and misty and, they make it pretty legit.
Well, you look at 17 and 18-year-olds, and that's like life starting for them. But somebody that's been through life, that really fits the life-changing, like
Yep.
a completely 180-degree path change for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, here I am now, still doing it every day, which is amazing. And a lot of people don't get that opportunity either.
Right.
So.
So did you just decide to join because you just were at a low in life and you just needed a change? Or what made you call that recruiter?
So we wanted security, right? Because obviously that was the middle of COVID. So
Yeah.
that's a trying time. We had been through a lot of hardship, and we're questioning, did we make the right decision? If we had stayed there, we could have moved in with our parents or whatever, and like I said, when I was 18 years old, I had already considered joining. We're from a military family, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I've always wanted to serve, and I know that they can provide me and my family with the things that I need, and like, I'm going to call them.
Overall, you're happy with your decision?
Yeah.
Very much.
I mean, I don't like Sergeant Major very much, but
Right. I heard
Nobody
it's
does.
hard.
Just kidding. It's a long list of people.
Why did you choose IT then?
so I chose that because I wanted a marketable skill.
Okay.
And I wanted something different,
Very
right? So I
smart.
had been working in a restaurant for a long time, and I wanted something that I knew I could grow with, and something that when I got back, because I don't assume I'm going to get this job, right?
Right.
And then when I got back, I was going to have certificates and skills and qualifications that I didn't have before. And when I went to AIT, which is what you do after basic training, right, where you do your individual training for your specific job, I got certificates and things like that are legitimate, like things that I can give to an employer, potential
use in the
employer.
civilian
And
world.
yes, absolutely. Which is really cool. And I think I know a lot of the Army jobs do that. But I wanted something technical. I'm interested. I have a lot of different weird little hobbies, as I think you both know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something that was engaging for me, challenging, something
I
new.
like it.
Yeah.
There's just not, realistically, there isn't much that we have witnessed that you have put your hands on that you're bad at.
Well, thank you.
Right. So it's, I don't know. It's, I think when you came in to get hired for a full-time position, you blew the board away and everyone was like, yeah, okay, this guy. Nobody really cared where we put you either. We're like, I don't know, just put him in a vacancy. He's going to kill it.
It's just because I made you guys laugh the whole time. That's the only reason.
Well, it's the human element, right? Yeah. And I imagine that being a restaurant manager, there's a lot of sales that's involved in that, just intrinsically. Mm-hmm. Like, how do I get your ass in the seat to buy this meal, right? And have a good time.
Repeatedly.
And I just don't think people understand that. So there was, like, if there were boxes that need to be checked, there wasn't one that you didn't check when you went through this process for us. So, and then when we took a look at it, the S6 section, which is the IT section, has been a bane of our existence for like 2 decades. And the calls to my office stopped overnight when we put you and Kyle in there. Like, everybody is just now happy with
that's good
all
to hear.
things IT.
I have
right?
them on speed dial. I'm not
Right.
gonna lie.
So it was nothing but wins for us. So yeah, absolutely. Your OG Idaho status card.
Oh, thank you.
is
I'll be expecting
legit.
that in the mail.
Right.
Laminate
Yeah.
it. Don't lose it.
Yep.
Well, if you could go back to high school and give advice to high school students who might be fearful about their future, what advice would you give them?
I would say to not be super fearful, right? As you can see from my life experience, there are so many different opportunities out there, right? And obviously, joining something like the National Guard or joining the military in general is going to give you the opportunity to spend time that you would be spending doing something else random, right? While you figure yourself out. Because when you're a teenager, you have no idea what you want to do. I mean, I'm 39 years old and, I'm happy where I'm at right now, but I'm already looking at, like we talked about the other day, I'm never content, right? I'm always looking at the next step. And that's a natural, normal thing. And don't fight that, embrace it, right? And I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. So, obviously, a very unique podcast and a unique life that you brought to the table. But let's ask the most important question.
Okay.
Is Sasquatch real?
No, I don't think so. I just,
I saw your soul crush.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
No
No. I believe that there could be cryptids out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's huge parts of even the ocean, right? Ocean and rainforest and things that we've never explored. So I don't know that I believe in a specific thing, but I think it's possible.
Like you're from California too. Like you ever spend any time up in the Sierras?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But I never saw Bigfoot
Okay.
or Sasquatch.
But you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a
chance.
chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I don't want you to be mad at me.
Well, we're out of time for today. Join us next Wednesday for another episode of GI and a Cup of Joe.
As we said in the beginning of the podcast, please dress right dress and enjoy your week.